Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another Hot Toys figure to review today. Today I have the TMS044, the Mandalorian, the Armorer. I believe I had pre-ordered this from Sideshow a couple of months back, and it finally came in today. But of course, before I get into the review, I strongly suggest subscribing to my channel and leaving a like on this video, because this is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
All right, so let's do a little bit of an unboxing. We'll throw on a little bit of music here, and I'll return to have a quick look at the box. All right, so now that we've removed the box from the shipper, we can take a closer look at the box. So the art box for the armor looks obviously like any other Star Wars Hot Toy box. It's pretty much gray and black, and then you have a picture of the actual product on the front. You have kind of like this half sleeve that goes around the front. This time it is colored in kind of like a gold bronze color that kind of matches the armor. I don't know if that's specifically for like a color code for the Mandalorian ones. I don't think it is. And other than the info that's just right on the back of the box, there is certainly nothing else of note on this box other than the sticker on the front that says Sideshow exclusive. After this video, if you want a copy of your own, I believe Sideshow at the posting of this video still has them up for pre-order. I'll leave a referral link just right in the comments. All right, so let's continue with this unboxing. We'll take the figure and the accessories out, and then we'll take a look at the accessories. So I will be right back. All right, one thing I almost missed on the bottom of the tray when I was unboxing it was this kind of like diorama piece. You can use it as a backdrop for your armor figure. It is kind of like a harder cardboard. It's a better quality than what I've expected. Looks really good. The image on there looks nice and clean. It does unfold to reveal sort of like a workshop for the armor. It's a nice idea. It's a nice thing to add in with this figure, and it does fit in the detail shelf, I believe. For reference, here's a closer look at the image of the workshop. You can see a bunch of drawers that the armorer could have been using, and a whole lot of different tools that, of course, she had been using as well. Before I get into the accessories, I do want to note something about her base. Now, this looks like a standard Star Wars Hot Toys base, but this is the first time I've come across this type where it doesn't have any peg holes or anything for the base to go into. But you notice on the actual stem, it's got it's kind of like a foot that you have to insert into the holes that's in the grate there that's on the stand. I guess we'll just see how this works. I'm just going to insert it just right in here. And actually, that went better than I thought. It went in smooth, didn't really give me any trouble. Not really sure which one I like better. This one's kind of neat because it doesn't interfere with the grate or anything in there. And it is obviously movable, so you can remove it and just move it somewhere else. But yeah. Also of note, of the different types of stands, this one comes with a waist grabber and not really the ones that is kind of like a crotch grabber, for lack of a better term. All right, so here are her accessories all laid out. It's weird. I would have thought the armor would have came with a lot more, like a lot more tools to use or whatnot. Anyways, let's take a closer look at these. First up, you have a pair of these metal tongs. Now, it's not made out of metal. It's supposed to be simulated metal. It's obviously plastic, and it is functional. You kind of have to be careful with it. It's just held together by one little screw. You don't want to mess around with it too much that you bust it and it comes apart. But anyways, it's kind of a neat little item here. It is very long. It's nicely painted. It's got just a bit of weathering on there. Looks really neat. And then we have the armorer's next weapon or tool of choice. It is her hammer. I really like the weathering that is on here. A lot more weathering than on the tongs. It does look like it's seen some use, which is kind of neat. I do like the way this is sculpted. It looks really smooth and shiny, but obviously it looks like it is an actual tool. Speaking of great weathering, we have this breastplate that you can have her working on if you wanted to pose her in that way. Look at the weathering on here. Lots of dents and marks, chips here in the armor. And it looks really weathered, like it's obviously seen some use. It's a nice addition to the accessories to have this piece here. Here's another neat addition to the accessories. Here is one piece of Beskar. Looks really nice. I do like how you can see the kind of waviness of the metal that is on the Beskar itself. It's not just a straight painting of silver, and a lot of detail was put into here. And then we have here a welder, I guess it's called. Not really too sure if that's the same thing as a blowtorch, but a welder. And it's got a different kind of weathering on here. It looks really nice. It looks a lot more like metal than the other pieces. Again, it's not metal, it's plastic, but it looks really nice. I do like how the handle has kind of like the soft black plastic on there to make it seem like a kind of like a softer rubber handle. And then you have this silver ladle, which appears to have some melted Beskar in there. Also neat having this accessory on here. You can be creative and have her pose kind of like pouring that Beskar into like a mold or something. Again, nice silver paint on here, a little bit of weathering, makes it look metallic, and it's not, it's plastic. Last but not least, we have a few hand switch outs for her. It's weird that she has 3 of the left-handed switch outs and only 1 of the right. But regardless, they all look really good. They do seem like gloved hands. Nice sculpting on here. Great paint. They got kind of like this dark brown paint. And each one seems to serve a purpose of holding different items. All right, so here we have the armor figure. Just going to do a turnaround here. Have a look at her from all sides. I do like how clean this figure looks. It's not too complicated. Doesn't have a whole lot of pieces here and there, but it looks really good. It looks a lot like the original design and look of the armor in the Mandalorian series. I do like how closely related the colors are. Like it's got pretty much one color scheme. It's kind of like a brownish color scheme, and everything kind of matches it. So the colors aren't all over the place, and it looks really nice. The fur shawl or cape, I'm not really sure what it's called, but it is a very nice touch. It gives this character a lot of depth and makes this character look totally different compared to the other Mandalorians who tend to look the same. I honestly really do like the way this figure looks. Like you could tell it's a whole lot of different materials and textures that is on here. What we'll do is we'll take a closer look at it, and we'll also check the articulation at the same time. All right, first off, look at the amazing paintwork on that helmet. You can tell that that helmet has been used for a while, and it looks really great. Again, it looks like a very heavy metal that is obviously good for a helmet. And I do like how it does look like it used to be gold or bronze, but now it's kind of weathered to the point where it is really dark. I do like the little spikes on the top. Is she related to Darth Maul somehow, or is she of the same race? I'm not really too sure. But I do like those little spikes. It gives her, again, she looks a little bit different than a regular Mandalorian. Which is very intriguing. The overall design of this helmet is great, and it looks a lot like the original character's helmet on the series. I do like how you can't really see the face either. There's obviously eyes and a mouth in there, but you can't see them. All right. You could turn her head all the way around if you needed to. And okay, looking up. Can't really look up that far. She can look downwards though. Next up, let's look at this nicely weathered chest armor. Do like the kind of reddish bronze color that's on here. I believe it is attached by a Velcro. I'm not really too sure. I don't really want to remove it just in case I can't put it back. But just in case any of you want to try, I think it's Velcro. All right, let's look at this nice fur or mock fur that's just right on her shoulders. Looks really good. I like how there's like different lengths on there and different colors that are on here. It's not just one color to make it look like kind of like doll hair or whatever. It's a lot of great layering on here. For those wondering, that's what her armor looks like on the back. Her main clothes are kind of like this dark gray color and has kind of like these trims of brown on there. And I like how there's different materials. Like there's a little bit of a softer cloth, and then it seems like it should be like rubber or some kind of harder cloth. Then there's like leather on her forearms. That's not actually leather, obviously. Then she also has this nice leather-like skirt, or I guess it would be called a skirt. Nice cloth pants, and then you have kind of like these furry boot covers. Tailoring on here is really clean, really, really great. Here's a closer look at that kind of wool-like material that's on her boots. Everything feels really high quality in hand. I also like how those boot covers they have like a strap that goes underneath the feet. Like that's something that's not really needed, but it's actually there. It's really nice. And even the boots or shoes, not really sure which one, but I believe they're boots. They do even have this nice design just right on the tip of the toes and underneath. Let's go ahead and check some arm articulation here. Seems to be some nice tight ratchet joints in there. And you can pull her arm up sideways this far. So that's really nice. Moving forward, you can get it about this far, and then the clothes kind of get in the way of it going any farther. You can kind of tug a little bit more, but I don't want to go too far. Checking the elbow here, it looks like it just has a single bend, so you can get about a right angle. Can't really reach up to her face though. There is, of course, a twist at the elbow there. And of course, you can twist at the wrist. Oops, looks like I was twisting too far that the hand just fell off. I find a lot with a lot of these figures, Hot Toy figures or 1/6 scale figures, where you have kind of like this forearm cuff that is kind of like loose. It's not really attached to the body. Hands tend to fall off easier just because the cuff by gravity is kind of pushing down on the hand and it makes it pop out. Testing a bit of the ab crunch. There is not much of an ab crunch on this figure. Looking at her legs, there is a slight twist or rotation here. Don't know if it's at the upper joint or the lower one. I think it's actually below the knee. All right, trying to have her kick forward. She can go about this far, so not that far. Checking her knees out. Again, it is a single joint or a single bend, and you can get a right angle. And then there is no such toe bend, but you can move the foot back and forth. There is at least a rocker there that you can utilize when you're posing her. So yeah, overall, there isn't a whole lot of posability with this figure. I mean, it's decent. You can get some poses out of her. And honestly, there isn't a whole lot of posing that you would do unless you have her do a lot of action poses, which she can do, I guess, because we have seen The Mandalorian where she was fighting those stormtroopers off. Spoilers, by the way. But yeah, I do want to give you an example of how much this figure sheds. From that fur that's just around her shoulders, a lot of it's just falling off and it's all over the place, making a mess out of my workspace here. So just note, it does shed like an animal. All right, so size comparisons. At this point, I'd usually have a clip where I am comparing a figure to a Pepsi can or whatnot. I had unfortunately recycled all of my cans and bottles, so I have none to compare it to, but I'll just move ahead and compare this armor with the Mandalorian. Now, this is the first Hot Toys Mandalorian. I believe it's TMS007. And when I was setting these two up together, I started looking at them and I really do like how these two look. Just because their color scheme is very similar. You see a whole lot of like browns and kind of like bronzes in there. And it definitely looks like they are from the same world and they do know each other, from the same clan. And it makes me want to pose them together in the same space, on the same detail shelf, for example. And I really like how that makes me feel. The armor is just a tad shorter than Din Djarin, who is roughly about 12 inches tall. At this point, I would compare the armor with the Mandalorian and the child. I believe it's TMS015. But believe it or not, I've had him for months and I haven't even unboxed him yet. So unfortunately, I'm not going to compare them until I actually unbox them. I have a whole lot of Hot Toys, again, believe it or not, that I have not even opened yet. Maybe I will eventually, who knows. I just need the time to. So there we have it. So here's another review done for a 1/6 scale figure, whether it be Hot Toys or a third-party company or whatnot. Usually I would say what I don't like and what I do like about this figure. So let's go ahead and do that. What I don't like, well, I mean, there isn't a whole lot that I'm completely irked about with this figure. There actually isn't a whole lot that I can think of that I really don't like. It's exactly what I expected. And I mean, I wish it had a little bit more accessories, but then again, how many times am I actually going to use those accessories? I think it's pretty adequate what it came with. If you are a collector who is super huge with posability, this figure is not that posable. But for me, if it's a character like Spider-Man, for example, I expect it to be very posable because I want him to be very agile and have these extreme poses. But I can't really see myself putting the armor in the same extreme poses. So I think for me, the posability factor is not a big deal. What I do wish she came with was kind of like a table or something that I can have her workstation on. So I don't have to make a makeshift workstation or something to have her posed. Just working on, some armor or something. Just kind of like a small desk or something, something nice like that. That would be cool. Yeah. Other than that, I think this is a great figure. Hot toy prices, now that's another thing. Hot toy prices these days are starting to get up there. Now, it could have something to do with materials that they need to use or licensing or whatever. But I've noticed that hot toy prices have been increasing lately. This one, for Canadians, for example, I'm in Canada. This one is above the $300 mark. Would I think this is worth a $300 price point? Maybe not. I think it should be underneath that. It is a Toy Fair exclusive from Sideshow, so maybe that drove the price up. But even then, I don't think it should cost that much. Putting all of that aside, I think it is a great figure. I didn't know what to expect, but when I opened her up and started fiddling around with her and posing her, looking at all the accessories and taking a closer look at the figure itself, I started liking her more and more. And before, I didn't know if I was going to keep her. Maybe I was just going to purchase her, have her pose for a bit, and then resell her. However, I kind of feel like I want to keep this figure. I think she looks great. I think her design is really great. I do like those colors on her. And she is kind of like one of those Star Wars characters that's kind of out there. It's not, one of the main characters, but it's one of the characters that you want to keep around just because she is so unique. Obviously, if you're a Star Wars hot toy collector, she's kind of nice to have in your collection. Obviously, if you're a Star Wars Mandalorian hot toy collector, I definitely suggest picking up this figure. Well, that's the end of this video. Let me know what you guys think of this figure. Will you be picking her up or is it a pass for you? And also, definitely subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and drop a like on this video. Hope to see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.